Okay. So to continue the top 30 anime list, I go into one of the most controversial anime of the last decade, Sword Art Online. And before you complain about its placement on the list, like 5 people who watch this video, I will say I get the complaints. I really do get the complaints about this anime. But I'll go into why I have it at this. But I will also say I have a very love-hate relationship with this anime. It can amaze me sometimes, and it can downright infuriate me at others. But I think it does earn its place in number 25 on my list. It might not on yours, but this is my list. So, without further ado, let's get into the rather controversial characters. Starting with the most controversial of them all, Kirito. Yeah, Kirito is a very up and down character in regards to how much I like him. He can be really good sometimes, and other times he can just be a bland, put yourself into the character type of character, and it's not really good for the show. Like, people complain about how overpowered he is in the majority of the show, but I'm one of the few people who actually think that his overpoweredness helped with the first arc of Sword Art Online. Everywhere else, it was kind of ridiculous and hurt the show, but I really do think that in the first arc, his overpoweredness actually enhanced the story in the sense that even with all of that power, everything he had done, he still couldn't save everybody, and he kept losing people. He couldn't beat a floor boss by himself most of the time. And then then they changed the plot halfway through. As for the rest of the cast, they can all be good when they're allowed to be, or sometimes they're just not even there after one episode. So it really depends on how much the writers particularly care about those characters. Heck, sometimes even they don't have to care about them at all. And a lot of the female characters just get shoved into Kirito's harem. Actually, pretty much all but one main female character gets shoved into Kirito's harem. And that really hurts the legitimacy of the girl characters, because they're just... They have great character development sometimes, but then they just get downgraded into a certain archetype for Kirito's harem. And it's just really frustrating. And the harem itself hampers Kirito's own romantic interest that he has, that after the first season is virtually non-existent. You have to be reminded several times that he's actually with someone just because of how much they like using the harem. It's frustrating. And another thing, the show doesn't really have much respect for its female characters. So to say that the character development and the characters themselves are hit or miss depending on the arc or how much the writers care is a vast understatement. It's just all over the place with how the characters are treated. But as for how they're animated, that's a different story. They are animated very well. The fight scenes in this anime are gorgeous, and they're some of the most epic you'll ever see, even if some lose their emotional weight over time. The fight scenes and the animation, as well as the music, are things I cannot complain about at all in this anime. Now, I could say that the fights might lack emotional impact, minus a few here or there after the first arc, but I really don't have any complaints about the animation or music, as I said. They're one of the few things you can't complain about in the show. But the main thing people complain about, besides Kirito, is the wasted potential of the story. And to say it's a roller coaster of quality in all the arcs is, again, a vast understatement. But Unlike most people, I liked the entirety of the first arc. Not just the first 3 episodes, the entire arc. All the way until the end. That comes out of nowhere. And just... I left me going, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. First episode after that first arc? What are you doing? A couple episodes later? Several episodes later. Oh god, this sucks now. Yeah, the second arc is probably the worst in this anime. Just, the second arc just takes everything that was good in the first arc and undoes it. It, like, severely destroys one of the characters. Not, like, kills them, but might as well, actually. Just that character loses a lot of their coolness, a lot of their legitimacy. They just really treat that character really badly. And a lot of the emotional impact or the stakes are just down now. You're not really as interested. And my god, just incessant tentacles. I didn't think the anime would go that way, but okay. Okay. The third arc is a better uptick in quality. But it still has its own problems with Kirito's overpowerness getting rather grating at times. Though there are some nice moments here and there with his character that weren't there in the second arc, so that was nice. And it does introduce a new character who I do like a lot. Even if in another arc she kind of gets treated as a harem archetype because anime. I don't know. Just the third arc, like I said, it's good, but Kirito again is a little too bland. I know he does have nice moments, but he's still kind of bland. And how overpowered he is in real life and in virtual life is just annoying. The fourth arc is just the definition of filler. You can skip it. The only thing I like about it is the world building in it. The fifth arc is the most emotional, but it can get kind of corny, and that kind of hurt my enjoyment. Like, near the end is this really emotional scene, but I couldn't help laugh a bit with how over the top they were going with it. But I still like the new characters added, and one character that was destroyed in the second arc gets gets some rebuilding in that one, and I appreciate that. I know I've kind of said more negative things than positive things about this anime, but oh yeah, on the fifth act before I finish, Kirito's on the sideline a lot, and that's kind of refreshing. Him not being the main character greatly improved it. But back to what I was saying. The overall show, I've said more positives and more negatives than I have said positives. But I still like the show despite its flaws. I think it overcomes its many, many flaws. And trust me, there are a lot. But just, like I said, the music, the animation, it can have really good moments throughout. And I only think there are 2 bad arcs. Heck, I don't even know if the 4th one can count as bad because it's only like 3 episodes and it's just filler. The second arc is just downright awful, but I don't think it destroys the show's potential. It just drags it down. As does Kirito's overpowerness and his Mary Sue-ness. As does the harem. But back to the thing. I do appreciate this show in a lot of ways. I like its world building. It's taking stuff in this world that I didn't think about and just applying it to them. And just, it's rather interesting. And it's still downright entertaining, even when it's bad. But like I've said, there are lots of good moments, and I think the good, well, that might be outnumbered by the bad sometimes, outweigh the bad in the end. So overall, this anime is very up and down. It barely earns number 25. If it had one more bad thing, it probably wouldn't be anywhere on the list, but it doesn't. And another thing that gets on this list is the fact that the first arc is one of my favorite of all time. I really love that first arc of this anime. Heck, you might just want to watch the first arc of this anime and skip everything else. Maybe you'll have a good impression of it. Maybe not, because a lot of people don't like the first arc after the first 3 episodes. But I do. But like I said, even when it gets bad, there are some good moments here and there to get you through it. However, I do get the reputation of the show, and I get why there are tons of people who hate it. And I think the people who claim it's the greatest anime of all time don't notice any of its flaws. But I would still recommend it to someone because it is a very entertaining ride, and there is a lot of good there, even if you have to go through lots of crap to get to it. I would recommend that you watch it if you can tolerate a very inconsistent quality. Sorry, I was getting a Skype call. And just go out and watch it, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But if, like I said, if you can tolerate an inconsistent quality, you'll find an anime that, while insufferable at times, can be really good. And other than that, I'll catch you next time.